What's up, you guys? Sean Ross, Sapp, managing editor of Fightful.com, FightfulWrestling.com, FightfulMMA.com. We have them all, and boxing as well. We have forums, photos, videos, podcasts, contests over at Fightful.com or over at Instagram.com/FightfulOnline, rather. We have a contest where we are giving away your choice of any of our 3 Fightful t-shirts. Head over there. You can see how it's done. Give us a follow. We've got Monday Night Raw to talk about. Joined by Alex Pawlowski. Alex, you know what you also joined me on?
What's that?
Alternate commentary for both the 2003 Elimination Chamber from SummerSlam,
yes,
and the Extreme Elimination Chamber. We've got 2 episodes coming up for you after the Royal Rumble. And happy to announce Anna will be joining me for one where we will be covering what she picked, Hogan versus Warrior from WrestleMania 6.
Yeah.
The WrestleMania 2000 Hardcore Battle Royal, and one that I threw in, Raven versus Kane versus Big Show, which I'm stoked for.
I'm so jealous that Anna gets to do those matches.
those will be coming at you towards WrestleMania. And if you guys support these, we'll keep doing them all year long. They're a lot of fun. So definitely be on the lookout for that. We do have the Royal Rumble 2005 match alternate commentary up as well. Tomorrow on Fightful.com, I have some news coming about some of the Impact Wrestling departures. None on bad terms, from what I understand, and there's still a lot of optimism and positivity as it pertains to Don Callis and Scott D'Amore. Let's check that out. Before we get into Monday Night Raw, and boy, there's a lot to talk about. Yeah. News emerged last week. I did a breaking news podcast on it. Paige done in the WWE. This is heartbreaking, Alex. Like, I feel like I was a broken record on that about 20-minute show if you guys want to check it out. But 25 years old, done as a wrestler, it would appear. She's battled scoliosis. And it's like what Showdown Joe and I often talk about in on those MMA podcasts. Just because somebody's 26 years old doesn't much matter. If you've been training since you were 14, like she has, those ring miles are going to add up, and I think they did. And her doctors didn't want her to come back anyway, Alex.
Right.
But WWE cleared her, which is usually the other way around.
Yeah, it's true. This is terrible for her at this age. She's so young, not super far removed from being, at the very top of the company. And the thing about it that is interesting to me is that, I liked her ring work fine, but that wasn't what I loved the most about her. And it was her charisma, and that she was completely different from other people. And I always have really liked her mic work. And those are all things that you can still utilize in the business to being something really special, whether it's a manager or, listen, it's high time the WWE has, at least on NXT, a female on the commentary desk. She could replace Percy Watson in NXT tomorrow.
Oh, please. Well,
what I mean?
you know why WWE does that.
Yeah.
Well, they like to have, to put it bluntly, they like to have their black color commentator.
Yeah.
They do that. Then, if that's what they want to do, then so be it. But man, Percy Watson is ass. Byron Saxton is miles better than him.
I was watching. I've been catching up on NXT before the Takeover Philadelphia, as I do, binge watching a bunch of matches. When he was saying, guys, these 2 guys are competing to see who is going to be the #1 contender for the title. That was his whole thing. He reiterated what the stakes were of the match about 8 minutes in.
Oh, I thought when Elijah Burke left Impact, I was like, oh, Percy's shaking in his boots right now. Because Elijah is, Elijah's at least one of those you either love him or hate him type of things. Yeah. But I think that potential is unlimited for Paige outside of this. She can't be a trainer, I don't think, because that would require her to do some bumping and stuff. Right. But authority figure, she would be excellent at it. An agent, probably good at it. Mm-hmm. You know what? How about you get her input on the creative team? Yeah. Any. You're talking like a mid-20-year, right in the middle of her 20s woman who has experienced a lot of life already.
Yeah.
she's seen the ups and downs. I mean, the woman's been addicted to drugs. She has had videos leak on her. She has reached the top of WWE. She's reached the top of NXT. She's come up through the indies. She's done a little bit of everything. And that's not really it's not something you come across every day. Also, I mean, they've already got her under contract. You might as well make as much use of her as possible. And even in this managerial role, I think she'll do fine.
Yeah, there are no shortage of women on WWE's roster, up and down on both brands and down in NXT, who aren't so great on the mic and might benefit from having somebody talk them up, like Paige. You know what I mean? So I think she could be really, really great in that role. There might be a silver lining here, even though, I mean, it can't be said enough. It is heartbreaking to have that news happen, and that she had just come back and she had a pretty good 15, 20-minute match with Sasha Banks on Raw. And then, a couple weeks later, it's all gone.
Yeah, and it only took about 7 matches to destroy that neck. And, man, I've dealt with neck injuries for half my life now, it feels like. Well, the last 10 years. And it's very delicate. And it's very scary. And we've seen a rash of them over the last couple of years after it seems like we didn't for a long time. You had Sting go away because of spinal stenosis. Sheamus is dealing with it right now. That's scary to me too, because he's in his 40s and he works a really hard-hitting style. Nikki Bella's dealt with it as well. And as I reported last week, guys, Samoa Joe, his injury to his heel is a lot worse than expected. WWE is hoping it was just plantar fasciitis, but he hurt a pop and he's got a rupture there. He's going to be in a boot and on crutches, and now they have replaced him with The Miz on live events. But not only that, he is pulled from all advertising from the Royal Rumble, both online and in the Royal Rumble entrance list. We do keep an ongoing list of Royal Rumble entrants over at Fightful.com, and we're constantly updating it, constantly refreshing it. So check that out, along with our injury report and our contract expiration resource that we have. That's a bummer, Alex, because you could see this week, and we'll get into it, but last week, they were very clearly going towards a Samoa Joe, John Cena thing. Mm-hmm. This week, they shifted that attention on John Cena to Elias.
Yeah. This could not be a bigger bummer, because he was just doing such great work. And, I said it. I thought he was like Final Four in the Rumble type guy, if not a winner, possible winner of it. And to do he's setting up a program with John Cena, no bigger guy to work with. All this stuff, and it can't be overstated. Vince hates guys that get injured a lot. He hates counting on them for stuff. He says, well, if I put all this stuff behind, we had this whole thing, a storyline set up for this guy, and then his foot pops or whatever. I'm not pushing him ever again, because he can be like that.
Yes, he can. He absolutely can. I interviewed Bruce Pritchard for this week's Listin' Your Boy podcast, which I'm going to talk about before we get into Raw. And on his show, frequently, he's always talking about how, depending on what day it is, they did the Rockers podcast, and they mentioned Marty Jannetty and how often he's been fired, 8 times. Sometimes he goes, I'm done with him. Speaking of Listin' Your Boy, as I mentioned, guys, I do have Bruce Pritchard on the show this week. I will be producing the show for the first time in months. What do I have in store for Jimmy Van? Nigel will be out of the office this week. Can't wait to have him back next week. But what do I have in store for Jimmy Van? Tune into the Listin' Your Boy this Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern, our flagship show, and find out. Also, I did a UFC St. Louis post show last night. Check that out. On to Monday Night Raw. Hot dog. This show had a lot of stuff, both good. I don't want to say necessarily bad, but some stuff that's really awesome and optimistic, and some stuff that I dreaded. And I was like, oh no, this is going to be bad coming up. So Braun Strowman was just phenomenal. And Braun comes out and does story time. We used to have a segment called Story. We used to have a segment on Listin' Your Boy called Story Time with J.J. Dillon. Well, let me tell you guys, this was not that. This was far from that. And when Kurt Angle interrupts him, Braun says, I was telling them a story. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Kurt Angle pulls Braun Strowman from his title match and fires him. And it was at this moment. Now, before somebody takes my words and runs crazy with it, I'm not saying that Braun Strowman is Stone Cold Steve Austin, but this was a Steve Austin moment to me. Mm-hmm. It seemed like the world was working against him here. And for a long time, WWE wouldn't touch the pay-per-view roster or make changes to matches after being booked. They wouldn't even tease it for a long time. They're like, once it's booked, and that's what you're getting. And since the Reigns Angle thing, we've seen a change of that. Braun is being escorted out, and he realizes people are behind him, and he is not happy about them. Alex, they all die.
Yep. Every last one of them dead. In lieu of flowers, their widows suggest you make a donation to the We Got Killed by Braun Foundation.
This was incredible. It was fun. Like every week. This is like, I've said this before. There are some ways, like people talk about Brock Lesnar's legitimacy. Brock Lesnar got his legitimacy by training his life, by running with logs and taking like 20-degree ice baths and becoming a great amateur wrestler and a great UFC fighter. And that's how he's legitimate. Bobby Lashley did it by becoming a great amateur wrestler, becoming a great MMA or decent MMA fighter. Braun Strowman does it because I believe he can tear up all the shit he is tearing up. And that's it.
Yep.
I'm cool with it. He doesn't have to have an MMA background. I'm cool with it. I love it. So what I loved was how livid Booker T was about Kurt Angle firing him on live TV, because that is kind of a dumb thing to do.
Yeah. No,
I mean, do it by FedEx like WCW used to do. Especially if it's Braun. Then he just rips the FedEx in half.
Yeah, well, he sent it to his house, and then he has to tear apart his own house.
Yes.
Okay.
First analysis. Hold on. Braun hilariously says that everyone was going to catch his hands.
Yes.
Then nobody actually did.
Yeah.
But a chocolate cake did.
Partially, yeah. Yeah. Part of it did. He was gentle with most of the cake. The rest of the cake went in his belly. So, okay. So I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that this guy has the potential to be one of, if not the biggest thing this company's ever produced. Like, I'm not saying he's going to be, because they don't seem to know what they have here. But they've got something really, really special. Because now the thing is that not only is he just gigantic, which is a huge thing, because that's a larger than life deal for people who don't normally watch wrestling. They see a guy that size and go, wow, I'm interested in what he does. Not only, I think, is he well above where any of us thought he was going to be in ring. Not only is all of that there, but is he believable turning over a damn semi truck? But also the amount of natural comedic ability that this guy has to know exactly how long to stare at the dude holding the cake before he takes a slice, eats it, and turns and walks away. Like, you have to have instincts to do that. We've seen a lot of people who are like, hey, I'm here, do this comedy bit in wrestling, and they fail miserably at it. This guy is a success. I mean, people were complaining about his little elf spoof he did over Christmas, but in that, it was just him being really, really, really good at comedy, physical comedy, really hard stuff, where you don't get, like, say funny lines. You actually have to be smart and use your eyes and your face and to convey, like, really snap judgment things that make it funny.
Alex, I honest to God saw somebody reply to a tweet from Justin LaBar and say, Braun Strowman doesn't have crossover appeal. And I was like, you dumbass.
You don't even know.
That reply, I even said to Justin, I was like, that reply to your tweet made me lose hope in humanity. Because I used to think that. Last year, I ran an article called I was wrong about Braun Strowman, because I was. Yeah. I was like, what the hell are they doing with him? This is a Vince McMahon guy that you could tell, like, he wasn't gonna be what they wanted him to be. And you know what? He just worked his ass off. He just worked really, really hard, and he got good. He got really good, man. And he picks up the little things. And he can be something very, very special and is right now. So I can't wait. Now he goes backstage, screams at someone in someone in catering screams, "Braun's coming!" Which is absolutely what you would do if Braun was coming. Now that's even if all this stuff hadn't happened before.
Right.
Like just in general, just give people a heads up. Let them know.
Did you catch in catering Grand Metalik eating corn on the cob with his mask on?
I didn't.
It was a brief thing there, but that whole thing was amazing. All of it was amazing. Him throwing a coffee table at a flat screen TV made me cringe because I love TV, but it was still amazing. He broke a priceless $15 piece of wall art over his knee. Have you no dignity and shame, sir?
He goes to the production truck, and Kurt Angle's like, "Those cost $12 million." And we
John Cone, the ref, rushing into the scene, make believe out of breath. Kurt, he's Braun Strowman. He's headed for the production trucks. Oh my God, it was just brilliant.
So we have a Kevin Dunn appearance too.
Yes.
Rare, very rare.
Yeah.
He GTFO'd as well. So Braun's like, "What does that do?" And points at something.
If I smash this, will it turn off your precious TV show? He's just amazing.
Like next week, Kurt Hawkins got chokeslammed through a table, by the way. The guy with the cake froze. And like I said, your next article needs to be the differences in running into a bear in the wild, because you wrote an article about a man who outboxed a bear, and running into Braun in the wild. Because if you just stand still, you might make it.
You might.
This man just revealed the blueprint. This was Holly Holm exposing how to beat Ronda Rousey right here.
Yeah, they say if you're walking in the woods up in the north woods of Wisconsin, you should always bring what they call a bear bell. It's just like a basic cowbell on a string. And as you're walking along, just swinging your arm, it'll make a noise, and bears won't come toward it. They'll go away from it. If you surprise a bear, if you sneak up on it accidentally, you're in for a world of hurt. So if you're walking through where the Brauns hang out, always carry a chocolate cake with you, just in case. Just in case.
I'm pretty sure that Braun went into the production truck to demand that WWE #WWE stop the Zoom.
Yep.
Use it, guys. Let them know. Tag them in it. Just let them know. Kurt Angle stops Braun from tipping over a semi briefly by saying he's calling the cops. That doesn't last long. And speaking of stop the Zoom, there were 14 camera cuts. 14 camera cuts.
Yeah.
Man, like, we get it. He's not really flipping over the semi truck.
Yeah.
But my God.
Mm-hmm.
My God.
Too many camera cuts. That's inarguable. My favorite part about the whole production truck excursion was that there's a interior door between two rooms of the production truck, and Braun Strowman is legitimately too wide to fit through it. And as he gets stuck briefly for a second, he almost has the door jam get those hands. Like he flinches like he's gonna punch the door jam. It's just great. I love it.
So he does in fact flip the semi truck.
Mm-hmm.
Then he makes his way to ringside. We're covering all this Braun stuff right now. He comes to ringside, and imagine being so panicked that you say, "The monster among men is coming out here," instead of saying Braun Strowman or Heat, or just getting away.
Holy crap!
Yeah. I would have settled for but whose side is he on? Like anything. I would have been okay with that. And then Braun practically wedgies Michael Cole.
Oh.
In the meantime, we had seen Kurt Angle with the generic, like, old school phone ringtone get a call.
Yeah.
It was Stephanie McMahon. She demanded that Braun be given his job back and put back in the title match. And Kurt Angle wants Braun to let Michael go. He does.
Yep.
Flying through the air into a bunch of security guards. Michael Cole, he's got himself in shape over the last several years, and he's like, I don't care, I'll bump. Who gives a damn?
Right.
And does it. Hats off to Michael Cole for taking that spot.
Yeah, this was great. I loved that he was going to let Michael Cole go, but Michael Cole was so disoriented from being, atomic wedgied by Braun Strowman that he was on his hands and knees crawling in the wrong direction toward Braun Strowman. And so Braun picked him up, and the crowd begged him. They begged him to throw Michael Cole a great distance. And Braun is nothing if not a man of the people. So he accommodated their wishes, and he threw in the Olympic event, the Michael Cole toss. There's no way you're beating Braun Strowman's mark. He's got the gold record forever.
This was a phenomenal segment, as most angles that Braun Strowman tears stuff up in are. I mean,
the only thing about this that I find interesting is that he comes out, he talks about how he tore shit up last week. Angle comes out and says, how dare you tear up shit last week? You're fired. And Braun tears up shit and then gets rehired. So he's taken out of the match, then put back in the match. Actually, where are we now as opposed to 3.5 hours ago? The same spot. Braun's tearing up shit, and he's back in the match. Nothing has changed, really. But within this whole thing, it's just they put the spotlight on Braun and let him shine for the first hour of Raw. It was his show. And the crowd was eating it up. So while nothing has really changed in the actual grand storyline, for Braun, it shows that they're saying, we are letting you run this thing. Let's see how the crowd takes it. Because, listen, I know that Brock's going to win this damn triple threat. And if Roman doesn't win the Rumble, he's going to find his way on this different way into the match with Brock at Mania. But what if that didn't happen? What if somebody somewhere, not Vince, because Vince wouldn't see it, but somebody who has Vince's ear saw this and could prove somehow through graphs and charts in a meeting between now and the Rumble as to why you need to put that belt on Braun and do it yesterday. Like, he's the biggest thing in the company right now. Just do it. Do it.
Do you think there's something kind of cool about Brock Lesnar holding the title until WrestleMania, because he'll have had it for a year? But, man, Brock is just the guy. Or Braun is the guy, rather, not Brock. I mean, Brock is... The thing is, Brock is the guy. It's just Braun right now is more of the guy.
Right. But there's another story you could absolutely do with that, is that Brock versus Braun one-on-one for the title back at whenever it was, No Mercy or whatever. Mm-hmm. And Brock won, pins him clean. If Braun wins this thing but pins Kane and Brock loses the title, then they have another match, the rubber match, one-on-one again at Mania for all the marbles. And if Braun beats Brock clean in that match, then you've really put over this guy as the guy.
I'm telling you, I am not opposed to like Braun winning the title and then Brock showing up in the Royal Rumble and just tossing everybody over like moments later.
Do that.
Because I'm cool with that.
I believe that whoever the two guys are who don't win that match, triple threat, they're both going to be in the Rumble.
But then again, I'm also cool with Braun losing the title match. Then on his way back, running into Heath Slater, who's like number one, beating him up, and then just eliminating everybody one by one from the Rumble. I'm cool with that, too. That's how into the Braun Strowman character I am. I really enjoy it.
Yeah,
I really love it. So, that son of a bitch Braun gives us Tom Phillips. So, it ain't all great.
No, it's not. I just love that they have like a break glass in case of emergency Tom Phillips in the back. Yeah. Like he's just hanging out there as opposed to being wherever the hell SmackDown is next tomorrow. You know, he's just hanging out. Oh, what happened? Michael Cole. Okay. My time to shine, says Michael Cole.
So we gotta get through this because we are already 25 minutes into this show.
What else happened?
Titus Worldwide defeated the Bar. I was fully expecting the Bar to win tonight and again next week. Instead, I think something's going down soon because we've got a ton of tag teams integrated right now. Titus, my only note about him was he looks very motivated and effortlessly body slams people. Like, it's no problem. Apollo Crews has just been such a crazy waste of in-ring talent, though. It's been 3 years, and I can't remember a match. Like, I give match ratings on Fightful.com after every Raw, SmackDown, pay-per-view. I start at 5, and it goes on a sliding scale. And really, anything above 6 is pretty damn good, I think. I don't remember anything that I would have given him like a 7 on. Like, and that's crazy with his amount of athleticism. Jason Jordan distracts the bar, and Crews rolls up Sheamus for the win. But Seth Rollins is not happy about it. What'd you think about this match?
Okay. You know, I mean, I have a soft spot in my heart for statistician Dana Brooke. Her coming out and awkwardly trying to do millions of dollars. The
best Dana Brooke we've ever seen, without a doubt.
By far. And yeah, listen, what is this tag team, really? If not the primetime players from a couple of years ago with I think, upgrade to the Darren Young half. Like, it's the same basic idea, you know, and Titus for a while, and whenever that was, that weird blip where they had the tag team titles for the 2 months in between that would have given New Day the longest reign way ahead of time. Like, whatever that blip was, Titus had the best hot tag in wrestling. Like, he would just run in and big boot and body slam and his weird, like, side breaker 3 times and then sling across the ring. Like, he's a house of fire. He's the proverbial house of fire. And it's fun. And I love the things that Apollo Crews does. He's doing not just a standing moonsault for a pin, but now a standing shooting star press for a pin. Like, he's really, really great. And these guys could be a lot of fun. And if what looks like is going to happen happens, and it's going to become this giant multi-team scrum for the tag team titles at Royal Rumble, fine. You can put these 2 guys in it. That'll be fun. You know, get more people on the card, I guess, you know?
Cedric Alexander with Goldust defeated Tony Nese with Enzo Amore. Nese's crunch kicks were hilarious. Mm-hmm. But this was good, fundamental, athletic, safe stuff. It's not like your PWG style match. This was a WWE Cruiserweight match. I loved the finishing sequence. And what I love most about this match was Tony Nese's sell of the lumbar check, which is maybe the best since Candice LeRae's. And I don't know if Candice LeRae's was anything she controlled. She just bounced to the ceiling when she took it. By the way, awesome that she got signed. Very excited for that. With that lumbar check, he took it on his back and then did a face bump.
Yep.
So cool.
Yeah, no, this is great. Tony Nese is highly underrated as a seller in that division. He's doing some really good work. I mean, he's not winning a lot of matches, but you know, he's not doing terrible either. He's no Noam Dar, but he's doing okay. And I like this match for what it was. You know, it's just killing time till Enzo's real kayfabe injured ankle is fully healthy.
The roster, I mean, has just been that 205 Live roster can't catch a break. Enzo has been like, when he's not like really hurt, he's storyline hurt, and he's sick, and he's got cuts on his face, and it's, you know, it's nothing that he's done wrong is the thing. Right, like, he's been hurt multiple times, and none of it's been because he's a quote unquote bad wrestler. Yeah. He just sells a lot in his matches, and I think he's great at it. But you lose Austin Aries, you lose Neville, and then TJ Perkins is out for several months. Not like they were going to do anything with him. Rich Swann gets arrested. You've got Kalisto out for a few weeks, and he's back now. Noam Dar's gone. Brian Kendrick's gone. He's hurt. So that roster, man, they're always taking hits, and Raw in particular. As I've mentioned in the injury update, the news updates I do on our YouTube. Subscribe, y'all. That Raw roster, it's been rough. It's been really rough. Decent match though. Asuka defeated Nia Jax via TKO due to an injury. I thought this was really good. One of Nia Jax's best matches I've seen on the main roster. Nia hit a nice side backbreaker out of the gate. Asuka pulls a triangle armbar out of nowhere. I really think that maybe they should break that move down for WWE viewers, because a lot of people don't know that you can transition into one that works as both. I like that Nia powerbombed her into the turnbuckle. It was a good spot and a false finish on the submission. I did love that they played up the cardio aspect of Asuka versus Nia Jax. Like, she was getting winded. She was getting worn down. Asuka gets a little sloppy with her kicks, and Nia delivers an awesome power bomb. That should be your finish.
That should be her finish. She should be finishing girls with that.
Took care of Asuka. It looked good. It was awesome looking because, you know, a lot of power bombs don't look too hot, and they end up landing on their upper neck and head. That wasn't the case here. I thought Nia looked great. She got her leg smashed in the stairs, but still made it into the ring. She was crying. The only thing I didn't like about this was her fake fall at the end. Oh, boy.
I mean, it was okay. It wasn't terrible. So I've seen worse. I've certainly seen a lot better. I loved the octopus stretch that she got, that Asuka got her in earlier in the match. Like, I thought that was really great. Of like, if you get Nia Jax grab a hold of you, she'll sling you across the ring. However, if you let Asuka grab a hold of you, she'll put you in some horrible predicament, submission move that might not actually make you tap out, but it'll hurt like a sumbitch. Like, that's a really cool dynamic for these two. And I love that if you look at the history that Nia and Asuka had in NXT, Nia has progressed since then. And she knows the different things. She wasn't about to get her head kicked off like she did in their last title match at one of the takeovers last year. She's changed. She's figured out. But Asuka's doing something different now. So I like that both these women have changed and grown. And so now their matches can grow as well. I like this for what it was. I like that you were able to protect both Nia and Asuka. Neither one of them took a clean pinfall or tapped out. I mean, Nia just couldn't stand. That's a different thing to me than saying, I give up. The ref stopped the match. That's a different thing, and I think you are able to maybe continue this beyond the Royal Rumble if Asuka's not getting involved with, Ronda Rousey or something.
Yeah. Backstage, or actually Alexa Bliss comes out to check on Nia Jax. Backstage, Enzo comes and checks on her too, and Alexa gets kind of pissy, but Nia tells her that Enzo has got this. I am really enjoying the shades of gray with all these people. Like, they're bad sometimes, but virtually almost all these people care about each other besides Enzo and Bliss. They don't give a damn about each other, but we're seeing that Nia does care about her friends and her love interest, and Enzo isn't always a douche. Like, it's good to have these layers. It's good to have onions for your characters. You got to peel back some of this stuff. Enzo can't be so extra all the time. But
right.
Guys, don't forget to check out the Fightful Wrestling Weekly. I drop it every Friday. We got about 1,000 words worth of exclusives in there and like behind the scenes stuff that I put in there. And there are also previous ones that you all can check out. Make sure you all look at that. Also, looking to announce this week, we have another video project that's coming up. Also, a big exclusive article feature that is going to be worked on by Denny Burkholder for next Monday that you all are really going to like. He's doing some great work. I think we got some video with it too. So check that out as well. Fightful.com has tons of exclusives, a lot of stuff you will only see here at Fightful.com. Also, we are the longest running weekly episodic podcast covering Raw from Kentucky. So that's impressive, Alex.
Very much so.
Hey.
Yeah.
Also, we are the worldwide leader in crossover combat sports coverage. That too. There was a terrible Jason Jordan promo backstage. He stumbled over his words. Like, this wasn't good. It was some of his worst stuff I've seen since he's appeared on Raw. But basically, he gets Seth Rollins booked in a match with Finn Balor. And really, I only brought this up so I could mention that Booker T afterwards says, Jason Jordan is booking matches now. That was awesome.
I think it should be mentioned for Kurt Angle staring forlornly at broken table legs as though they really, really mattered to him. Because it's just rented furniture from this office in the one town they're in this week, as though he had lovingly shopped for these antique.
Yeah.
It belonged to my grandma, Braun. This table belonged to my grandmother. She brought it from the old country.
Also, programming note, guys, we will have shows live after NXT TakeOver and the Royal Rumble, of course. That night is the same night as a UFC show. Don't know what I'll do about the UFC show, but this weekend, myself and Showdown Joe will be here for Bellator 192, which has Chael Sonnen versus Rampage, Rory McDonald versus Douglas Lima, and UFC 220, which is tracking to do some really big numbers. Francis Ngannou versus Stipe Miocic, Daniel Cormier, who's beefing with the Young Bucks still, against Volkan Ozdemir. I'll probably do a news update on the Cormier Young Bucks stuff since I had some engagement there with Cormier a couple weeks ago. The Revival defeated a couple of jobberskis, one of which is Bayley's fiance. This is the Revival's first time back on TV in a month since their Raw return. An assisted front suplex, shatter machine. Glad they're back, but then we see why they're back, Alex. Yeah. Why they disappeared for several weeks, and then they got mic time. My favorite part of this was probably Scott Dawson saying, "You sure you want to give the Revival a live mic?" And then he said, "Nothing risky at all."
Nope. He didn't.
Nothing.
Well, the thing that he did say was risky was that they were talking about how the old timers that are going to be at Raw 25 next week couldn't hold the Revival's jock and all that stuff.
You mean like the promo that the Ascension cut in January 2015 ahead of Raw Reunion?
Yeah, I remember.
Wait. Wasn't that promo like the one that Heath Slater cut all the way up to Raw 1000?
Yep, same thing, basically. Yep. The problem is that I have with this is that Heath Slater was, basically in a go nowhere position himself at the time, and the Ascension were really, they were really, the Road Warriors knockoffs, but the Revival are legitimately, possibly the greatest tag team in the world. They're not being booked like that or used like that, but they are. And guess what? You have a history, WWE, on your own website of naming them in their matches as the number 1 or number 2 match of the year for several years in NXT or your own company. So if you're setting them up to just have basically everybody's finisher from 1995 done to them in a row in the middle of the ring at Raw 25, shame on you. You're going to ruin these guys. You know you're doing it. You're anticipating doing it. And it's unconscionable. However, if these guys' contracts run out and they wind up in Ring of Honor or New Japan, they will tear the house down every damn night in a company where wrestling matters. Not the rest of this stuff, but wrestling. Because you cannot tell me those two guys are not two of the best tag team wrestlers on the planet. They proved it over and over and over and over again in NXT. Yes, they've been injured, and I know how much you hate that, Vince, but ruining these two guys by having them take 17 Stone Cold Stunners, it's not cool. It's just not cool.
A lot of people, I don't think that would ruin, but these guys, I really do think it would be a hole that they would have to really, really dig themselves out of.
Because here's the thing.
I would have the Dudley boys come out there and confront them, and then I would have the Revival beat them. That's what I would do, and have them say, "See, look."
Right.
That's what we do.
Build your precious heat that way. Because listen, there's ways of doing this that you could book them out of that hole that you're going to book them into, but you're not going to do that. You're going to have them just take all those finishers and look like crap, and then you're going to say, "Okay, boys, get yourselves back over again by working matches on main event."
Yeah. The Ascension were never that good. They were just never that good. No, I don't think they were ever going to work. Heath Slater was what he is. He's a comedy character by and large, and he does it so great that it didn't hurt him. This is a serious team, and man, Ring of Honor and that New Japan partnership would love to have these two guys.
You know who could do this spot next week, and really it wouldn't hurt them at all?
Heath Slater,
Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and get into them. As I mentioned, they shifted the attention on John Cena from Samoa Joe to Elias. He mentioned John Cena is going to have his full attention at Royal Rumble. Miz paid Elias to sing a song about him. It didn't even rhyme. Not Elias's best work. But, I mean, he's in San Antonio, and that's practically a third world country. Sorry, Kyler. Kyler James, our social media manager, I like to bust his balls about that. He was at the show tonight. Miz cuts a promo about how important he is to Raw and how much the crowd missed him. Roman Reigns comes out to face the Miztourage in a handicap match. The numbers game gets the best of Reigns. Bo Dallas holds him in a chin lock for 90 seconds. Axel prevents a suplex on Dallas, which allows Dallas to hit a DDT. But then later, Axel is actually forced to DDT Bo Dallas when Roman Reigns throws him into them, which I think would have even been better. Like if it were like Curtis Axel was so scared of Roman Reigns that Reigns was like, DDT your friend now. And then he had to do it.
He just goes, boom, and Axel falls over. Yeah.
There's a lot of pussyfooting around after a couple of Superman punches. The ending of this match made Roman Reigns look like a doofus.
Yeah, yep.
Because he Superman punches Axel and then goes to chase Miz. You got him next week, bro.
Yeah, I know. It's just stupid.
This was pretty boring drivel, I thought.
However, I thought the Miz's promo before the match was hot fire.
Well, it always is because he really feels like the thing is, whether he has a case or not, you always know that he believes like he's been slighted.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good for him and his work. It's great stuff.
He makes, even if he doesn't believe it, the way he says it makes me believe that the Intercontinental title is the most important title on Raw, or at least maybe not that, in the entire WWE, because he held it and he made it so prestigious, and now they put it on Roman. Like it means something to him so much that he makes me believe it. Like he's great. He's absolutely great, and I hope he won't, but I hope he wins next week.
Sonya Deville with Absolution defeated Sasha Banks. This was a little bit of a surprise, but I have a lot of people asking me if there's heat on Sasha Banks. I'm told there's not. Does that mean that things like this won't happen? No, that doesn't mean that things like this won't happen. After Sonya Deville beat Sasha Banks, Corey Graves says, that is a statement. And I was just thinking, it sure is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is.
In more ways than one, that is a statement. And also, this is where I put over Sonya Deville's strikes again. And boy, did that knee look snug.
Yeah.
Snug.
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah.
Snug is like 6-year-old me in my Ninja Turtle sleeping bag. Mm-hmm. Oh, boy.
As a bug in a rug.
I would go as far as to say as a bug in a rug. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, here's the thing about Sonya Deville. She got good. Over the past,
that's all she needs.
Second
to only Aleister Black in WWE.
She got good. Like her feud with Ruby Riott, they continued when they were both in NXT before they came up when they were in separate somehow but totally identical factions on Raw and SmackDown, and also continued through. They had a match after they had both been coming up in NXT. She got good. She had a match a couple weeks ago against Ember Moon for the title in NXT. That was good. So listen, if you're going to establish these new women who get called up, having her have a wrestling match against Sasha Banks, a former champion, where Banks is in control for most of the match, but Sonya gets in a great shot to the ribs that knocks the wind out of Sasha to get a pinfall. That's the way that you can establish her as being a threat. Not having her lose matches.
If you're working with people like Ember Moon on your way out of NXT, that doesn't hurt either, because if you can't get better working with an Ember Moon, then I don't know who you can get better working with, because that woman is just outstanding in the ring, like unbelievable. I've just ever since I saw Sonya Deville throw strikes live, and like I can tell you guys, like I've worked with a lot of catch wrestlers, and a lot of us we transition in between pro wrestling and MMA. And pulling those strikes can be very, very, very hard when you're not used to it. And she came up from an MMA background, and not only does she do it, it's just, I can't get over how good and how crisp it is, while she still makes it look like it's effective in the MMA world. That's real, real hard to do. Yeah. Like, because you're not exaggerating your punches. You're not exaggerating your kicks and your knees in MMA. You're trying to get them there as quickly as you can and as effectively as you can. So
what did you make of Paige coming out as part of the faction, still standing there, not saying anything, and them basically mentioning in passing, oh, by the way, Paige won't be in the Rumble, but they don't say anything else?
She's a professional, and she is.
it felt interesting to me. Like, it was
my main concern about Paige was what will this do to her mental state, but she seems okay right now.
Seems okay.
However, you got Daniel Bryan out there saying, like, me being a GM makes me want to wrestle even more. So, and he says, like, when he's gardening, he's thinking about wrestling moves.
Yeah.
Hey, man, that's passion right there. And I think Paige shares that passion. I think Paige can be something very, very special outside of wrestling. She's going to be one of those people that, like, you look back at, like, Paul Ellering. A lot of people don't even know Paul Ellering wrestled.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are a lot of people like that they just don't know because he was so effective in his managerial career. I think Paige can do so much. She can host stuff. She can announce. She can be an authority figure. She can manage. She can be an agent. She can be creative. She can do so many different things. And it's tragic what has happened to her. And you all can see what I thought about the spot on any number of the podcasts that I did about that. But I think that she's going to be fine. Also, why were they showing still images of last week's Raw?
They did that twice this time. Like, you guys don't have the licensing to use video of your own shit? What is that? I know when they do it with the pay-per-view, it's like, well, we don't want to give that away for free, but you gave it away for free last week. We have it on
cruise over to YouTube and watch this.
Yeah, I can go to YouTube. I have it on the Hulus. Like, whatever. I don't understand why you're showing me still images, and not even good still images. Not like the actual ones taken by your photographers, but like you get a screen cap on a pause on the laptop. It was bad. I don't know what the hell they were doing.
As Stone Osborne says, Bobby the Brain Heenan was a good wrestler too. One of the best bumpers ever, honestly, especially for his time. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't realize that he did that and that he worked before. Woken Matt Hardy defeated Heath Slater. This is pretty much a squash match. I like that Booker T wondered what Jeff Hardy was thinking about this at home, and as he should have been.
Yeah.
Rhino makes Heath Slater get back in the ring after Hardy creeps him out. The delete head rams into the turnbuckle looked much better this week when they didn't cut as they were happening. I also interviewed former WCW producer Neil Pruitt tonight for a future Listen Ya Boy podcast. And he's like, I hate the zooms. I hate the cuts. And in the middle of Impact, he said, if you have people that wrestle, let them wrestle. That's why they're taking the bumps.
Right.
Couldn't agree more. Matt Hardy wins. This was a squash. Matt Hardy needed to delete that booger in his nose, though.
I didn't catch that.
Oh, all up in there, just stuffy. Just stuffy, Matt. Thank you, Claritin.
I love that Matt Hardy, Woken Matt Hardy, has an entirely different moveset than the guy who was wrestling for months, who was just, hinting at being broken.
Jeff did that with Will-O the Wisp, too, as much as I hated that character.
It's really effective. He's just a whirling dervish of, like, clubbing blows in the corner, and he's the thing where the creeped out thing in the corner, that was excellent. All of this was really good. Matt Hardy, Rebby Hardy, Vanguard One, all of them talking about it on Twitter, finally got a new Titantron for Woken Matt Hardy, and it looks really great. Just the delete over and over and over again looks great. It's a lot better than the purple and green Hardy Boys thing they were using last week.
Yep. The entrance is cool. I like it. Main event time, Seth Rollins with Jason Jordan defeated Finn Balor with the Balor Club. This is a pay-per-view quality pairing that has a built-in story in it if they wanted it to, because Seth Rollins did hurt Finn Balor. They do a classic Raw moment in the middle of the main event.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Like, I get it. You're pushing the show. By the way, I didn't mention this earlier. What I want next week is Braun Strowman to tear something up and get kicked out of the Barclays Center and then make the trip across town and tear up something at the Manhattan Center.
Yeah. They got to figure out who's the guy that's going to come back. Is it Doink? No, it's not Doink. But, like, who's the guy that from the old timers who's going to be out there at the Manhattan Center and everyone's going to be like, boo, get off the stage.
They can have a Doink. I mean, they own the gimmick. I mean,
that's true.
It doesn't matter. Anybody who doesn't own the gimmick does that too.
That's true.
I like Balor adding to his arsenal by using the Hurricane Eye of the Storm finish. The Battle of the Dueling Sling Blades was cool too. A lot of good fundamental work in this one early on too, and then it really heats up Rollins kills Balor with a super kick. Balor has gotten much more aggressive with his strikes. I think this man has been on fire in the ring since this summer. And Alex, I mean, you know what I thought about his offense, and you know what I thought about his work for years heading into this. I have really enjoyed Finn Balor because he's changed it up.
Yeah.
He's just changed it up. Now, sometimes he reverts back to the stupid ass front drop kicks on the outside of the ring that don't make any sense. But there was this series where Rollins favored his knee and missed a Phoenix splash, rolled out, got drop kicked into the buckle, and then as Balor took a little too much time, he ate a superplex to a Falcon Arrow. That transition ruled. That was so good, so smooth. I loved it. I'm a dork for Falcon Arrows. I love the move. I think they're great.
Yeah. It gets to my thinking of, let's say Finn Balor doesn't get injured in that match and he beats Rollins. And this is the program for like the rest of whatever it was, 2015. Like I could watch these matches over and over again. These two guys were great together. They were great together.
I could watch Finn Balor over and over again. I couldn't have watched that Finn Balor back.
But I feel like that Finn Balor always existed. And but he just wasn't pulling that stuff out. I think he's now doing that. I mean, I think you're right. I think that it has been building, but last week and this week with his buddies behind him, he feels different. Like maybe I'm making it up, but it feels like he just feels like there's something more to Finn Balor right now. He feels like a more of a lust for life, for lack of a better term. Like he just feels like he wants it more, and I think it's great. Battle of the Dueling Sling Blades and building to each of them getting to do it while the other guy blocking it because they know how the move works. That's excellent. I really liked this whole match up until the finish got a little wonky, but it was supposed to. Like it made sense the way they did it too.
So at the end, the Bar comes out, brawls with Balor Club and Jason Jordan. So now you have another tag team factored in here. You got the Balor Club factored in after the Bar has been beaten by Titus Worldwide. I think the way that they've been weaving these teams in together is very, very smart. Do I wish that it were the Revival instead of Titus Worldwide? Yes, I do. But, I'm going to reserve judgment on Titus Worldwide because, honestly, the best Titus O'Neil is a manager. The second best Titus O'Neil is a hot tag. So, Finn Balor does this awesome tope con hilo onto the Bar and Balor Club that almost misses, but he gets it. Jordan trips Balor, and then we see the return of the curb stomp, Alex.
Yep.
Now, I joked on Twitter. They brought back the curb stomp on MLK Day. Mother of God. A lot of people took that way too seriously. The background on that, guys, there's a movie called American History X that there were racial implications of a guy getting curb stomped.
Yep.
And it's like, there's a running joke on Twitter and Reddit that they did it to Big E on MLK Day, for the love of God.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to see the move back. Seth Rollins' entire finisher situation has not been the same since they abandoned that move. He did that front DDT for a little while that I think Aiden English took for like a regular move. It's an okay move, but any move where you swing out your leg and have to do that, it just doesn't work. He had the pedigree for a while. Then he had the ripcord knee. He hurt some people with the ripcord knee.
Yeah. Yeah. The one thing I thought was interesting was they never said curb stomp. They said Balor got stomped. But the first thing they said, as the move, like right after the move happened, Corey Graves says, Finn Balor suffered a blackout, which was what they used to call the move when he was called Tyler Black.
And it should be called that.
They should be called that. I think the biggest thing about the move is not what it is. It's that if a little kid Googles curb stomp, that's the problem. Is you're going to see a lot of those kind of photos and videos that come up. But if you Google blackout, it's going to be like, oh, the electricity's out. Like it's not. That's going to be a different thing. So I think that you can use the move, which is a perfectly serviceable move. But as long as you don't call it that inflammatory name, I think it will work. The weird thing about this was that they lingered for a long, long time on Finn Balor selling the effects of.
I thought the Balor Club were about to turn on him after that because
it felt weird.
What the hell are they doing?
Like it was like 3 minutes of just them in the ring, and it didn't. It felt like they ended really short in the match. And they were like, well, we paid USA to like go long, so here we go. I will say that I love a good, like, the enemy of my enemy is not my friend. I like when factions behave that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, screw you, don't get involved in my match. Just because you're beating up the guys that I'm facing, I don't like you either. Like, that's good. I like that in my factions. I hate the idea of like, well, I'm a heel and you're a heel, so I guess we're both on the same side. I hate that. So I like that these guys, the Balor Club was resentful of the Bar getting involved. I think that's good.
As I look back on WWE's timeline, they only mentioned like Stomp. They didn't say Curb at all. Very wise. Change the name. That's it. That's what you got to do. Change the name. That's it. Because less people have been hurt on that than several of his other moves. So, and having that finish, I think has hurt. Not having it finish, I think has hurt him a little bit because that was his. And the lasting impression of it was him winning a title with it and then never really getting to use it again. Like literally the two most iconic curb stomp moments ever happened. Like what, the night that it was eliminated.
Yeah.
So
it getting reversed into one of the greatest RKOs ever, and then him winning the title with it. Like that and then it was gone forever.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Guys, of course, visit Fightful.com. I want to thank you guys for all the support you give us. We are on Twitter at Fightful Online. Over at Instagram.com/Fightful Online. We are giving away a free Fightful t-shirt. Head over there, repost. You can just follow the instructions over there. But we're posting stuff all the time there. I have exclusive graphics, unused graphics. I have photos from my time as a photographer because I've done a little bit of everything in the wrestling media deal. So I've got a lot of photos that I post up there, a lot of funny stuff. Definitely check that out. Follow us. Thousands of you watch every week. I just need thousands of you to follow us and retweet our stuff and to share our stories. Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, all that stuff. If you post on Reddit or Twitter or any communities, make sure you follow their individual community guidelines as you do so. But Alex, where can they follow you on the social media?
You can follow me at Pawlowski the 4th.
You guys do not want to miss this week's List and Your Boy, Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. That's our flagship show. We go 90 minutes. We have a guest. It's me. I talk about the journalism end of things. We got a businessman and Jimmy Van who has found success all over the place. And then we always have a guest. We do a segment called Stupid People of the Week where we break down some pretty crazy stories. One was about a man who took a Viagra and got his wiener stuck in shower curtain rings. That's what I cover for a living. Head over to Fightful.com, my friends. Thank you guys so much. Till next time, subscribe, like, thumbs up. We're out.